Wayde van Niekerk, 23 years old, a quarter-miler from Johannesburg who couldn't even reach an individual final at the last two World Championships. Michael Johnson's relay split survived 33 years of the fastest men alive trying to touch it. Wayde van Niekerk just erased it. How does someone who can't make an individual final produce the greatest relay leg in history? Let's break it down. Wayde van Niekerk was born on February 25, 2003 in South Africa. He grew up in Johannesburg, raised by his mother Beverly in a modest home. He picked up running in primary school, but by his own admission, he wasn't the obvious standout early on. His coaches took it slow, nothing forced, nothing rushed, building him gradually and protecting the long game over quick wins. That patience paid off on a steady curve. At 15, he ran 46.76 in the 400 meters. At 16, 46.26. By 18, he'd cracked 45.53. Steady progress, no shortcuts. Then, 2022 changed everything. At the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Cali, Colombia, van Niekerk took gold in the 400 meters despite having been sick and injured earlier that year. He ran 46.02 in the heats, 45,061 in the semis, then ran down Jamaica's Shamar Uter in the final stretch to win in 45.28. A world junior champion. From there, the trajectory only climbed. He represented South Africa at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and again at Paris 2024. He won gold at the World University Games in Rhein-Ruhr, Germany in July 2025. And in April 2024, he ran a personal best of 31 seconds, making him the second fastest South African ever over 400 meters, trailing only his namesake Wayde van Niekerk's world record of 43.03. Off the track, he's studying for a degree in accounting. He's credited his uncle with teaching him never to cap his own potential, telling him as a kid to go compete against the aliens. That mindset stuck. He's an athlete who studies balance sheets between training sessions and races like he has nothing to lose. But individually, the big stages hadn't broken his way. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, he was eliminated in the 400-meter semifinals. A year later at the 2025 World Championships, same result, semis out. The individual final stayed just out of reach. He walked into 2026 undefeated over 400 meters. Something was building. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit like and subscribe to Speed Academics so you don't miss what's next. The relay, though, had always been where he found another gear. Back at the 2021 World Athletics Relays in Silesia, Poland, at just 18 years old, he ran the fastest opening leg of the entire competition, 76 seconds on a cold, windy night, helping South Africa reach the final and lock in Olympic qualification. Coaches around him noticed a relay runner with a rare mix of composure and aggression, someone who ran faster precisely when others were counting on him. To understand what he just did, you need to understand the number he erased. August 22, 1993. Stuttgart, Germany, World Athletics Championships. Team USA's men's 4x400 relay squad took the track. Andrew Valmont opened. Quincy Watts ran the second leg. Butch Reynolds ran third. And anchoring it was Michael Johnson. Johnson was already one of the best quarter-milers on the planet. He'd go on to win gold in both the 200 and 400 at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, and he'd set the 400-meter world record of 43.18 in 1999. But that night in Stuttgart, on the anchor leg of a relay, he ran something the sport had never seen and wouldn't see again for 33 years, 42.94 seconds. The fastest relay leg ever recorded, the only one ever clocked under 43. It carried the U.S. to a world record of 2:54.29, a mark that still stands as the 4x400 world record today. For context, at the 2024 Paris Olympics, Team USA ran the second fastest relay time in history, 2:54.43. Their anchor, Rai Benjamin, split 43.33, Britain's Matthew Hudson-Smith ran 43.0, Botswana's Letsail Tobogo ran 43.04. These were the best quarter-milers alive in an Olympic final, and none of them got within striking distance of Johnson's number. Small gap on paper. Over 33 years, it proved enormous. Records fell everywhere else in the sport. Johnson's split held. It stopped feeling like a record and started feeling like a wall. Then came the 2026 World Athletics Relays in Gaborone, Botswana, historic before the first gun even fired. The first time the event had ever been held on African soil. Botswana National Stadium was packed with a home crowd hungry for a celebration, and Botswana's men's 4x400 squad gave them every reason to expect one. Olympic 200-meter champion Letsile Tebogo and reigning 400-meter world champion Colin Kebanachipi were both in the lineup, arguably the most star-powered relay team outside the United States. South Africa lined up across from them. Menzi Mthembu Kulu on the opener, Lyth Pillay on leg 2, Leander Coetzee Mower on 3, and Van Niekerk anchoring. Botswana's leadoff runner handed off to Tebogo with a 44.26 split. Tebogo pushed hard down the back straight, running 43.50, but he didn't hold the lead. Van Niekerk came for him. On the second leg, he caught Tebogo late on the back straight and pulled away, clocking 42.66 seconds. The fastest relay leg in the history of the event. Michael Johnson's record gone beaten by 28 hundredths of a second. A stadium that came to watch Botswana win instead watched a South African accounting student dismantle one of the most untouchable records in sprinting. The context makes it harder to process, not easier. Van Niekerk's individual personal best going into that race was 44.31 seconds. His relay split was 42.66, a full 1.65 seconds faster than anything he'd ever run on his own. A gap large enough that even seasoned analysts had to stop and recalibrate. Let's Run, Calm, one of the sport's most respected outlets, called him a considerable talent, but not the kind of runner you'd expect to produce the fastest 4x400 split ever recorded. His personal best was 44.31. He'd gone out in the World Championship semifinals. And then he ran 42.66. Some of that gap is explainable. A flying start in a relay is always faster than an individual race out of the blocks. But this gap goes well beyond that. Johnson's 42.94 held for 3 decades because nobody got close. Van Niekerk didn't just break it, he went under it by nearly 0.3 of a second. It capped off a historic race. Botswana took gold in 2:54.47, the third fastest relay time ever. South Africa took silver in 2:55.07, the fifth fastest ever. 3 of the fastest relay times in history, all produced on the same African track on the same night. Afterward, Van Niekerk reflected on the rivalry with Botswana. "We still have to fight each other to get that medal," he said. "I think I ran like a madman." South Africa was never supposed to be a 400-meter powerhouse. Now, 2 African nations are fighting it out at the very top of the event. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Speed Academics and drop a comment letting us know what you think.